Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Litrataholic here, and in front of me is the ULTIMEA Poseidon D80 Boom soundbar. ULTIMEA sent this over for review, but in this video, I really want to share my honest experience after using it for a little over a week. I'm going to walk you through the unboxing, what you actually get in the box, the design and build quality, the features I didn't like, the ones I absolutely loved, how it performs in movies and games, and finally, if I think it's worth the price, and a good replacement for whatever audio setup you have right now. So stick around until the end because this might be your next home theater upgrade. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video to support the channel. I really appreciate you being here. So let's start with the unboxing. When I first saw the box, it already gave me that complete home theater in a box vibe. It has the ULTIMEA logo in a big image of the whole setup. You can see it clearly labeled as the Poseidon D80 Boom, a 7.1 channel system with Dolby Atmos support, and this Surround X upmix feature that I was very curious about. On the side, there's a peek at the ULTIMEA companion app and the Poseidon D80 Boom branding in multiple languages, which already tells me they're pushing this globally. Flip it to the back and you get the Bluetooth and HDMI logos plus a simple illustration of the suggested setup. Inside the box, I get the main soundbar itself, 4 satellite surround speakers, the big wireless subwoofer, all the power cables and adapters, an HDMI cable and optical cable, the remote control, the mounting kit, and of course the user manual. It really feels like a full system right out of the box. Now let's talk about the design and build, starting with the main unit, the soundbar. I've been using a Samsung Q series soundbar for years, so that's my reference point. Compared to that, this one is more compact and smaller, which is interesting because this tiny soundbar is handling the left, right, and center channels all packed into one body. That might sound like a downside on paper, but later I'll explain why it actually works. On the back, I have the ports for power, the front, left, and right surround speakers, 3.5 jack, optical, USB, HDMI, 1 HDMI eARC, and 1 HDMI in. There are 2 mounting holes if I want to wall mount it. On top, I get touch-sensitive controls for power, input, Bluetooth, and volume, plus the ULTIMEA logo and Dolby Atmos and HDMI trademarks printed neatly. In terms of build quality, I was honestly surprised. The Poseidon D80 Boom doesn't look or feel cheap at all. The metal mesh on the front has this subtle shade of gray that matches the touch controls, and it contrasts nicely with the black body. It has a very minimalist and clean look, which I always appreciate in a setup. The 4 satellite speakers follow the same design language, same finish, same mesh, same minimalist look. Everything feels consistent and well thought out. Now for the wireless subwoofer, this thing is huge. On the back, there's the power button, the power port, and the ports for the rear, left, and right surround speakers. And at the bottom, you can see this large driver that's responsible for all those heart-pounding low frequencies. Just like the soundbar and satellites, the subwoofer also looks clean and minimalist, and I really like the rounded corners instead of a plain boxy design. It's a small detail, but it makes it look more modern and less like a big black block in the room. Let's move on to the part that really matters, how it sounds and what it can actually do. The ULTIMEA Poseidon D80 Boom supports Dolby Atmos, and for me that's one of its strongest selling points. It doesn't have up-firing speakers, which some Atmos systems do, but every time I watch or stream movies and TV series with Atmos support, especially using my On 4K Pro, it still sounds really impressive. Especially when the source supports up to 7.1 channels. Each channel feels distinct. I can clearly hear effects moving around the room, and it gives me a true surround experience that wraps me in sound from different directions. The subwoofer is also very powerful. I never felt like it was holding back during intense action scenes. Explosions, loud rumbles, and those deep cinematic booms all come through strong. One thing that really stood out to me was the dialogue clarity. Compared to my Samsung Q series soundbar, the Poseidon D80 Boom gives a noticeable boost to voices.
Writing is how we remember what came before us. Like the great stories of Jacob
I personally prefer hearing clear dialogue over constantly relying on subtitles, and this soundbar delivers on that. Even in busy scenes, voices stay clear and easy to understand, which I really appreciate. Another feature I love is the 4K HDR pass-through via eARC. This pairs perfectly with my Nintendo Switch 2. When I plug my Switch 2 directly into the soundbar, it passes 4K HDR to my TCL QLED TV with LPCM 5.1 audio with no problem. The Nintendo Switch 2 audio can be a bit of a love-hate thing for a lot of users, but in my case, I'm really happy with how the Poseidon D80 Boom handles it. With its Surround X or upmix technology, it uses all the speakers including the subwoofer to make my games sound so much more alive. Games like Mario Kart World and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment suddenly feel more immersive. Honestly, this is the first time I've appreciated the audio in these games at this level. Even in games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, being surrounded by all the environmental sounds adds another layer to the experience. It feels like the audio finally matches the scale of the visuals. And yes, the boom in the name is not just for show. With the wireless subwoofer, those punchy low frequencies that you expect from cinema speakers are there. Also, this thing gets really loud. At just volume level 15, and it goes all the way up to 100, it's already more than enough to fill my room. Now, if you're worried about setup being complicated, this is where the D80 Boom surprised me again. Setting it up was very straightforward. The cables are labeled and color-coded, so I didn't even need to open the user manual. I just followed the colors, plugged everything in, and it all made sense. When I powered the soundbar and the subwoofer, they paired automatically without me needing to do anything extra, which I really appreciated. After that, I just placed each speaker where they needed to go, plugged my input device into the HDMI in, then ran another HDMI cable from the soundbar's eARC port to the TV, and I was ready to go. No complicated menus, no weird pairing rituals, it just worked. Let me quickly go through what I consider the pros and cons after a week of using this as my main setup. First, the price. This entire 7.1 surround sound system is being sold for around $300 or less, depending on where you buy it. For context, my Samsung Q series soundbar plus its surround sound kit cost me around $500 in total. You can find the Poseidon D80 Boom on ULTIMEA's official website, and if you're in Southeast Asia like me, you can check the price on Lazada and Shopee. I'll leave all the links in the description. Another big plus for me is the wireless subwoofer. Because it's wireless, I can place it wherever it sounds best in my room without worrying about running a cable all the way back to the soundbar. That flexibility really helps in dialing in the bass response for my space. Now, not everything is perfect. Let's talk about this remote. I kind of hate this remote. It's big, it looks very busy with a lot of buttons. Some people might actually like this because you get direct access to a bunch of functions with a single press, but personally, I prefer a more minimalist remote design. For me, this one just feels a bit too much visually. And there's music listening. As much as I love this soundbar for movies and gaming, I'm not a fan of how it sounds for stereo music. I've tried fine-tuning and tweaking the settings multiple times, but I still find the sound a bit thin and lacking in clarity for my taste when it comes to music. To be fair, it can still play music just fine for casual listening. It's not broken or anything like that. I'm just picky with music, and I personally prefer using my Edifier bookshelf speaker for my music library. So who do I think should actually buy the ULTIMEA Poseidon D80 Boom? If you don't own any soundbar or home theater setup yet, and you already have or planning to get a large TV, I genuinely think this is one of the best options in this price range. A lot of soundbars around this price only gives you front-firing speakers, so you miss out on that truly immersive surround experience. With a D80 Boom, you get a full 7.1 setup with proper surround speakers out of the box. You don't have to buy extra rare speakers or additional kits later on. It just works, and it does it at a price that doesn't feel greedy for what you're getting. So that's my 1 week experience with the ULTIMEA Poseidon D80 Boom soundbar. If you have any questions about this setup, feel free to drop them in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer that for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future reviews. Thank you very much guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.